Good morning, neighbors. I'm going to try to come back to talking about nuclear news. A bit of a focus on that. He's guilty, but WIPP, WIPP, Waste Isolation Pilot Plant. Accident, WIPP. This is, I'm going to say, the third largest repository of nuclear waste. It's trying to manage materials that last a long time. Many concerns over them, chemically, physically, nuclear chemistry. So this waste isolation pilot plant, accident description, Department of Energy. This is just a story you can build on. WIPP is located in New Mexico. It is a salt dome. Buried deep in the deserts of New Mexico. That by itself has some very interesting characteristics or attributes. Because salt domes, they often look like teardrops. Salt domes have amazing geological abilities, features. They were built over millions, maybe billions of years of geological chemistry that drives the guts, the very guts, the heart of this planet. So using that salt dome has months worth of, just from a geological standpoint, because we mine these salt domes. There's a story of the domes underneath Detroit City, right? So, WIPP, recovery accident description. The intent of the salt dome idea is once the materials are stored over generations, over thousands and millions of years, that salt dome is going to recover itself, refill itself, and encapsulate those materials. That is a very long-term outlook. It's part of studies that are done for these types of adventures. You go to geologists, you don't ask them why, you ask them how does this salt dome work? Because they're physical things on our planet that some people understand. So WIPP dug into a salt dome for many, many reasons. Now, how about accessing a salt dome? What does that mean? What are you trying to do with it? How many controls do you have to put to keep the environment workable for humans that are going to be involved in mining this salt dome, in emptying this salt dome? The salt goes somewhere. So huge caves are dug out of these salt domes, which we could Google, but this is what we look for: waste isolation pilot plant accident. And then I put the abbreviation for it, WIPP, in there. Accident description, accident investigation, recovery, protective action. So what happened at WIPP? Well, if you open these up and start to chase them out, there's multiple happenings you can timeline. One of the first in one of the articles I opened mentioned a haul truck, heavy haul truck, moving salt in the dome that caught on fire. Now that's significant in itself. But there's another one in these stories. There's one of a drum, a barrel. There's one barrel in that facility that was improperly packaged. went into spontaneous combustion for igniting, vaporizing hazardous chemicals and nuclear waste. That's the story. That accident, that contamination, the inability to contain and respond to that caused a 3-year shutdown. That 3-year shutdown isn't done. But parts of the facilities were opened because we have to do something with this stuff to keep it safe, to keep it contained, to keep it isolated, as the name implied. So people study this, engineers study this. You go into engineering design facilities and houses where you pay a few $100s an hour to speak to somebody on a telephone. That's how this works. And I've been at the other end of that telephone. So WIPP was shut down for 3 years trying to recover because the facility just is, what else do you do? So they opened it back up, began accepting materials, and again, improperly packaged waste. A liquid from the note caused another issue at the facility and shut them down again. The cost of this is in these stories. 2014 radiological event. What really went wrong at WIPP? Wow, that's interesting. An insider's view of 2 accidents at the only U.S. underground nuclear waste repository, Stanford University. Within a 10-day period in February 2014, 2 accidents happened at the waste isolation pilot plant in New Mexico. The United States only. Big money in this. So if you diagram this thing, high tech here, we're going high tech. Pretend this is a Visio drawing or something else drawing package you're familiar with. In Visio, I can link the information to databases and data sets, drives colors and backgrounds, and makes really nice presentations if you want to go there. Very good for process flow diagramming, but you can find, again, better software or better competitors in that market space. Basically, you have an input, right? Out. But the key here is this. In physics, this is a boundary. I'd take a ruler out and I'd measure it and I'd make some assumptions and guesses about it. In a process flow diagram, this is the simplest of models. This right here is the unexcluded middle. And this is the area I'm going to leave out with a fancy drawing. This middle, this true or false decision that looks like in here. If you get an in, do you get an out? Well, these facilities aren't supposed to have an out. Unless you draw this from a dollar perspective. And then your diagram goes off into different spreadsheets and records and analysis. So, WIPP, interested in the story? It's not a good one. Only a part of the facility was reopened. They're asking for tens, maybe hundreds of millions more dollars because the air handling systems within the facilities won't allow for the isolation necessary. So, as a Republican might suggest, it is a problem of doors and open doors and being able to close doors in a nuclear waste facility. having the ability to recover from one bad day, the cost of recovery, being ready to recover for generations, all the generations to come. That's how critical this one nuclear waste storage facility is. Now, there's another one being built over in Texas. You can find out shipping information about commercial nuclear waste casks going to storage. Looks like they'll be hauled on trucks, but I'll bet rail is going to be involved as well. Rules and regulations, those boundaries, okay? I said in physics, you can put boundaries on anything. You can say how much of the input's going to bounce back. You could put in illegal, you could put in Lady Justice in here, right? The old balancing scales. Woohoo, let's try and balance something in here, true or false. It makes no sense. Poorly done. But that's where we're at. How's deep ocean mining coming? Do we know? Good coffee morning, folks. Peace is out.